F-117 stealth fighter to impress the American public. Video cameras at the ready. But then, gasps of horror. The high-tech plane broke up and fell to the ground. The pilot used his ejector seat, and his parachute was soon clearly visible to the crowd. He landed safely on a tree-lined street. The wreckage of the fighter and 11,000 pounds of fuel came down on 2 nearby houses. Today, the crash scene is sealed off. Military investigators are trying to work out what went wrong.
We don't know whether there's any malfunction of the control surfaces. We don't know what went wrong with it.
The loss of a stealth fighter used to most dramatic effect in the Gulf War is a costly business. Each of these radar-dodging aircraft costs almost $50 million. Now 6 have gone down in accidents. And the timing couldn't be worse. Only days after allegations that the US Air Force's other stealth plane, the futuristic B-2 bomber, loses its special anti-detection paint in the rain. Nonsense, says the Air Force. Last week they tried to prove their point. Now they have to answer new questions about the stealth fighter. Stephen Sacker, BBC News, Washington.
And to discuss the implications of the latest American military setbacks, I earlier spoke to Paul Beaver, an analyst with the British publication Jane's Defence Weekly, from one of our central London studios. I asked him first about the fleet of stealth fighters which have been temporarily grounded.
There did appear to be a control surface malfunction, a structural problem. It could be for any number of reasons. There could be some human error involved in it. It could have be something that perhaps is hidden in the design that they didn't know about before. So it is a problem, but they are, after all, expecting, after 25 years of service, we've only seen the stealth aircraft for about the last 7, but after 25 years of service, they are expecting to replace the aircraft very soon with a new generation of stealth aircraft. So this is quite an old lady in terms of military hardware.
So up to now, Paul, what is the stealth's record?
It's a very good record. I mean, initially, of course, there were problems with the aircraft. The 2 prototypes crashed, but this is not unusual. Sadly, in development programs, there usually are casualties in this way. But the aircraft, of course, was of outstanding success during the Gulf War. It hit targets without being detected, without any casualties. It demonstrated just how technology can win in these situations. So it's very much something which the Americans are proud of, and it's only the first generation of the stealth aircraft. But of course, like all these things, stealth has its counter. People are now working on systems to try and detect stealth, hence why the Americans are showing so much interest in the next generation, the B-2 and the F-22.
All right, let's just move on to the other crash involving a US plane and the German plane. What's the likelihood of a collision of these 2 planes happening?
It's incredible, isn't it? I would imagine the odds are getting on for several million to 1. And that part of Africa, there is no positive air traffic control. It's very much done by procedures. Pilots report where they are on a common frequency and in what's called an open flight information region. They report as they're flying down the coast that they are at a certain position by latitude and longitude. They often talk to each other to tell them each other where they are. I suppose we could have had a bit of human error. Somebody could have wanted to have a look at the other, but it's one of those very sad incidents. And of course, it's not an area that's very well covered by search and rescue. Luckily, South Africa still has a sophisticated armed force that's able to put aircraft into the area, and Namibia has a navy now which it's able to put to sea.
Aircraft wreckage has been found in the sea off Namibia, where the German and American military transport planes disappeared from radar screens at the same time on Saturday. The German defense minister says at least 20 pieces of wreckage have been recovered from the search site, where a Namibian vessel has spotted a large pool of oil around 100 kilometers offshore. Officials in Bonn and Washington have said they can't say yet if the crash was due to a mid-air collision. The planes were carrying a total of 33 people, and search teams say there's no sign of survivors. A United Nations team sent to investigate the mass slaughter of Rwandan refugees in former Zaire has given the new government 2 days to allow it to begin work. After 3 weeks in the capital, Kinshasa, the UN experts have still not started work, despite an apparent promise